Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. If you have a gardening question you'd like our host Fred Howard to answer, send him an email. The email address is fred@planttalkradio.com. Now for today's question.
Plant Talk Radio is brought to you by Columbia Yard and Garden Tractors. Find your local Columbia dealer at ColumbiaEQUIP.com. Now, back to Plant Talk Radio.
And welcome back to the program. Mark News here alongside Fred Howard, the Ohio nurseryman. And Fred, our first caller of the morning, is on with us. And it is Charles. Good morning, Charles. How can we help you out today?
Good morning. Hey, I got two questions for Fred.
All right.
One, how do I get rid of morning glories? They've taken over everything.
My standard answer to that is not going to be appreciated by you and many others. Move.
Yeah.
Now, it depends on quite what you have. There are several things that are, they border on lookalikes. And in any case, the ones I'm thinking of are not morning glory that comes back from seed each year. You're probably pestered with the ones that are perennials. And therefore, you have to go at them with a vengeance. And what I have found to be most effective, especially when they're growing in and among shrubs and you can't just broadly spray and so on, is very painstakingly cutting them off or pulling them loose. You will not get it all. But very shortly then, they'll come back with another vengeful attitude, and they will be bunched up and on the ground and in and under things where you can then carefully spray with a drip-like spray. Not a mist that can woof up into the plants, but something that drips down on them. And it'll take you... Well, I know of one person that was very diligent about it, and it took her 2 years. And I know that isn't appreciated because there's no quick answer sometimes. She just kept cutting it down, letting it regrow and spraying it, and finally got enough of the leaves killed quick enough that they did not make enough food, so to speak, to keep the plant going, and they finally died out. Now, that left her with a residual problem. The darn things seed heavily, and they will keep coming for a long time. They're part of the natural environment, and they're one of the nasty things to get at. They're not so terribly hard to kill if you could get out and spray them off of a fence or whatever, but usually they're twining up through other things you don't dare spray. So,
raspberries.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, my berry plants. Yeah. They've got them choked out.
Well, and there's where you might skip the proper pruning of the raspberries by taking them off not at knee high, but down around 4 inches. And if I'm not mistaken, now be careful of this, but check on it. I think the bindweed, or morning glory as you call it, will start to come up green and showing before the raspberries start to leaf out, which gives you a chance then, where the raspberry has not leafed out much, to get in and among those plants and start to kill them. It is also known to have you digging the raspberry, washing off the roots, getting rid of it, getting the plant saved that you want to replant, then go in and you, with a vengeance, using weed killers, spray those areas enough times to get the living plants killed, then go ahead and replant, and then watch out for those that come from seed. It is a real, genuine nuisance in many cases. You apparently have one of those cases.
Yeah, I do.
Especially if it's in raspberries.
Hey, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our other podcasts as well, the Plant of the Week podcast and the Plant Talk Radio podcast, all on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to sponsor a daily podcast, contact us at fred@planttalkradio.com. To find out more about Fred Howard and Plant Talk Radio, visit our website, planttalkradio.com.
Circle270media.com